Hi, welcome to this week's social media hangout. In the show today, so far we have Ben Fisher and our special guest, Jeff Sieh. And I just probably pronounced your name wrong. Can you introduce yourself to our audience, Jeff?
Yeah, my name's Jeff C. I know it's hard. Everybody messes it up. So, yeah, glad to be here. I'm excited.
And so we know you from the Manly show, and you said you have some news surrounding that. I just wanted to jump in with that right away, right from the start.
Oh, sure. Yeah, the Manly show came out of it was Mike Alton, Les Dossie, Wade Harmon, and Stefan Hovnanian. We did the Manly Pinterest Tips show, and we did about 5 episodes of that, and it was really fun. We had a lot of good response for that, and we decided, we want to talk about other things other than just Pinterest, and so we rebranded as the Manly Show. Well, and that's going well. I think we're on our 6th or 7th episode of that. And what we usually do on that show is we do a business kind of social media show, and then we do something fun. Like we did a cooking show where we all barbecued out back with Chef Dennis. And then like last week we had Gary Goldstein, who was actually the producer of Pretty Woman and Under Siege, and so we talked about action movies. So that was a lot of fun, a lot of cool things going on there. But there's still a lot of people, and Pinterest is really growing and one of the fastest growing social networks, and so I'm relaunching the Manly Pinterest Tips show as a podcast, and so I'm in the middle of producing the openers and jingles and stuff like that, and I'm also considering doing a video podcast as well with that. So really excited, a lot of stuff going on, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. We'll have to segue over to Pinterest at some point in the conversation,
Sure.
definitely. But something I did want to touch on right from the start is Google Domains. They've released their beta of their, I don't know if you had been hearing about it, but long awaited for me. I've been waiting for Google to do something like this. And I actually really like it so far. What I like about it is it's simple. It's really just, it's no frills. It's exactly what you need it to be. You can search for a domain. Let's search for Ben Fisher. Let's see what Ben Fisher shows up. benfisher.biz. Perfect domain for me.
There you go.
Right. And
.tips, .today. Ooh, sounds like a show. Technology, solutions, photography. Sometimes, if it has to do with Cloud Wars.
Yep. But you're right. So it's very easy to transfer. I haven't transferred yet, so I guess I can't say it's very easy yet. But it looks to be very simple. Yeah, simple.
Hey, want to see something really funny, Andrew?
Yes.
Type in Google as a domain name and go all the way to the end, and guess what you'll end up with?
Android.tips?
Nope. Keep going. You gotta go down. Yeah, through about 3-4 times. Facebook.
Facebook.center. Huh. Interesting.
Now, what's interesting about this is the actual kind of I think more of the semantic relevance that's shown actually through the search, which a lot of hosting companies, by the way, don't have down very well at all. So they'll usually have a bunch of spun names that are kind of canned. But as you're doing this search for Google, you're seeing like Android, you're seeing Gmail, you're seeing Hangouts, things like that coming up. So yeah, just go type in a random word.
Invest. There's some silly ones here.
Dick Duck might be an investor. James Scott might be an investor.
Exactly.
So,
equity photography.
Right, exactly.
It is interesting. But yeah, so once you buy a domain, let's go to one that doesn't have any private information here. So it's super easy. You just type in a domain to forward it to. Done. Save it. You can partner with Wix. They partnered with Wix, Squarespace, Shopify, Weebly. Just connect your accounts. That's it. But you can also have the more advanced settings if you need it. CNAMEs and domain records and all that stuff that I barely understand. And I usually have the other guy do for me. But right, so it's good. I like it. It's exactly what we needed it to be. Just simple, easy. Yeah.
How fast is it rolling out to everybody, or how did you get an invite? Somebody asked in the comments I saw. So
I have no idea. I actually we applied. I guess maybe it was just through the Partners Program. I forget if I actually typed my email in for it. I do that a lot for a lot of random betas, so I sometimes forget. It could have been 6 months ago at this point.
I got it through Google. I got it through Google Partners. And
right. The email was branded as a Google partner, so presumably you had to have your agency or company in as a Google partner, which you have to go get certified and add the links in there into the event page afterwards. But it's difficult. I mean, you can do it though. It's you have to study. There's tests.
Well, just to give everybody a pro tip, I mean, basically just go to Google Partners and set up a MCC account, basically, and take the tests. The first 2 tests in the series are so simple. Even if you have literally a basic understanding of AdWords, you'll become a partner. If you don't, just have a second computer open and just Google the answers as you're doing it. Literally, I mean, they're that simple. Some of them take a little bit of logic, but for the majority of them, they're easy. And once you get into the partner program, you get all sorts of benefits, like beta invites, for instance, being one of them.
Yep. And yeah, so and you can also get Hangout invites to Google Partners has now been launching. They've been doing a lot of Hangout events, kind of showing you how to work your actual dashboard, how to get the best results for your business or for the businesses you are an agency for as well. Yeah, so it's great. So as far as who else can get in, there's no invite button. I wish I could invite other people to the beta. So we have no idea yet. We got a code in the email actually for a free domain, and there's nowhere to enter the code either. I have to contact someone about that, right?
Actually, yeah,
there is? Oh, so I'll have to ask you about that later. I could not find it for the life of me. So I'm sitting there like, why did they give me a code if I can't put it in anymore? All right, so that's good. So they're not just playing games with me. I thought that's what was going on. But yeah, so further on, we have other news. I mean, unless you guys have any questions about the Google domains, anything else, doesn't really seem like it. But that's good. It's simple, straightforward. It's exactly what we wanted it to be. Yeah. Next is Twitter analytics. Just a bad segue. Hashtag bad segue. Twitter just released new analytics for users, basically an analytics dashboard. You can see how your tweets are doing, compare your impressions, engagements, retweets, use tweet details page, see all the details that you want. I guess response has been somewhat mixed, I guess, in that people are afraid that regular users are just going to use this to turn Twitter into a numbers game, which pretty much is at this point already. But I think it's great. I mean, I'm always good with more transparency. So yeah. What do you guys? Have you guys at all read about this or care at all?
I thought. Go ahead, Ben.
No, you go. I haven't seen it or played with it, so.
I haven't played with it either, but I'm kind of like Leandra that any analytics are better than none. I think it'll be something you could, if you're helping clients with stuff, you could show them. And I think it's going to be good. I mean, the more third-party tools for Twitter analytics, I don't know. They're usually hard to use for me.
Hold on one second. I'm trying to invite Eric in.
There you go. Thank you. That's what I was trying to find.
And I wasn't sure exactly what he meant by calling in. I tried opening the Uber conference app, which I've used before, and it's very helpful, but right now it doesn't want to open. There's an error loading your app. Google. But so, all right. Let's.
I think it just wants to, dial him in via phone, but
Anyway, let's talk Pinterest. Jeff, how did you get started with Pinterest? Let's start somewhere conversational.
Okay. Well, I think a long time ago I was listening to the Social Media Examiner's podcast, and they had Cynthia Sanchez on there, and I'd really known nothing about Pinterest, and so I listened to her, and it piqued my interest, but I was like, whatever. And then when I was on Google Plus for a while, I watched some stuff with Peggy Fitzpatrick and Stefan. They had a really good hangout, which I still direct people to today, about how Pinterest and Google Plus go together like peanut butter and jelly. And that got me thinking, and then I started using it, and the whole thing is that it's perceived as a women's network. And so I started writing little posts about manly Pinterest tips and just kind of, I mean, fun stuff. Like I had one that was really popular. I talked about I made a secret board that I shared with just my daughter, and we used that to communicate. Nobody else knew about it, and it was something that we had special together. And that did really well. And so somebody said, hey, you got to do a show. I'm like, all right. And so I had been talking about doing a show and just did it, and it took off. And so, and I use it, I mean, and I started doing it about 2 or 3 months ago. I do a pin of the day every workday. And so what it does is it forces me to share other people's content, and also I look at stuff on Twitter, and it increases my audience there and over here, and people seem to like it too. So I've just kind of been going with that. The thing about Pinterest is it's got the longest shelf life compared to any other social network. I still have pins of my articles that I wrote months ago getting repinned daily or comments, and it really, for me, because I started blogging and I'm still a relatively new blogger, it drives a lot of traffic. And so that's why I think it's just growing. It's going crazy, and I just...
Pinterest is definitely one of those I hate myself for not going back to. I used it for about a month or two maybe. I didn't really get that heavily into it, but I'm still getting repins. I still wake up, get 25 notifications on my phone. I mean, I wish I had put up some articles, so I need to go back and get it set up properly. Definitely.
And the cool thing is it got me really interested in is you can pin videos, and so I actually have a group board that I created called Google Plus Hangouts Worth Watching, and I've got, Stefan pins and Ben and you guys' show there a lot. Mia pins her show there a lot. I try to pin any ones I find there, and so people have actually told me and said, hey, I'm using this as a resource, and so I think that's pretty cool.
Nice. So I have to definitely connect with you over there. And something I wanted to mention before we jump over to Eric, who just joined us mobile. I just want to say the whole women that Pinterest is a women's network. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Basically, you jump in, you say, oh, there's nothing here. Well, we'll post something. I mean, it's a great tool. I always liked it. Something that was interesting to me is in Europe, or at least in Great Britain, I believe, it was more popular among males for do-it-yourself tech tips, new devices, things like that. Like they loved it. So it's definitely something that could work for anyone. You're right.
Well, the other cool thing about Pinterest is from an SEO perspective, is that boards can actually rank. So if you care about your business name or say social media hangout, ranking, not only can you get your domain to rank, but just like Twitter, just like Facebook, just like Google Plus, you can get a Pinterest board to rank as well.
Yep.
Yeah. My pins of the day are ranking on Google, so I mean that's big for me. And so it's then the being able to do video, and now you could do animated GIFs on there too, and so it's just and Pinterest is really, if you've noticed their new ads that are coming out, they're really pushing the male audience. I mean, the whole new ads they were doing, it was guys working on cars, pinning pictures of motorcycles, and so I think it'll always probably still have a lot of U.S. women users, but I think it's going to even out more as it grows.
Nice. And hi, Eric. You seem to be.
Hey, everybody. I had a major struggle getting on here, and I'm on for the moment. We'll see how long it lasts.
I hope you're not actually driving right now.
Yeah, no, I like driving and doing hangouts at the same time. Is there something wrong with that concept? I'm sorry.
Where are you right now?
I'm going to actually message you my phone number as a backup in case this doesn't work out. You can just call me in. I can give you the MozCon update whenever you're ready to do that. But sorry for you have it as a backup there. And Jeff, hi, how are you? Nice to meet you visually here.
Yeah, nice to be with you in the car.
Yes, indeed. And actually, that person over there is driving, also known as my wife.
No, I was wondering if you were in London or something. You might have been on the other side of the car. Anyway.
Yeah, there you go.
We can actually segue over right now. How was MozCon?
Yeah. It was a fantastic event. I got to tell you that the professionalism in which they produced it was really extraordinary. A very sizable, space. First of all, 1,300 plus attendees, single track for 2 days. So getting up on stage in front of those people, which Mark Traphagen did, is certainly a coup. And a lot of the presentations were fantastic. To me, there were a lot of people with a really strong vision for how content marketing should work, and which we're totally bought into at Stone Temple. But I always love seeing how other people talk about it, because they'll come at it from a different angle somehow, and it's like, oh yeah, if I look at it from that perspective, it's the same stuff I've been thinking about, but now I'm going to do it slightly differently. And there was just a tremendous amount of value from it. So that's the high level statement of it right there.
I really like the concept of the one-track conference. I don't like seeing these advertisements for like 40 social media experts that you'll never talk to anyway or hear speak because you're in the other conference at the time. Or for a speaker, I mean, you could walk out there and have 2 people in your audience because everyone's at the Facebook Engagement Emporium presentation. So that's nice. But I'm glad to hear you had a good time. Is there anything you learned, or was it kind of a rehashing of what we've been doing here?
I mean, it's always good.
We might be losing Eric. Dead zone. Or is it just me? Am I frozen?
No.
No, it's he's gone.
Yeah, go ahead and call him in via his cell phone. Just like add as a telephone.
Oh, I didn't know we could do that.
He probably is getting ready just to tell us some big, huge thing that would have got us thousands of followers. Like,
Yeah,
all
exactly.
you do is, that's what happens usually.
No, see, I can't add a phone number as an invite.
Yeah, you can.
What? That's crazy. No, I just put it in right now.
Yeah. So I'll say this, is I don't know if anybody's caught it, but there was a video actually that Mark and Eric did right after MozCon. It was really great, and Mark went through in about 20 minutes and explained authorship and everything in a very succinct way. But the other cool thing is if you go to the MozCon blog, you can go ahead and you can download all of the slides from Mark's talk. And he did a really great Game of Thrones kind of theme. So it was pretty darn cool.
Yeah, I noticed that from the headers of his presentation. He was going for the Game of Thrones. It's nice.
Yeah.
I still need to go check out the actual slide share, right? Or whatever they use to upload the slides.
Well, there's dragons in it. I'll tell you that much.
Well, my wife will love it then. But yeah, so let's see. Our comments are rather quiet today. Do we have any questions for Jeff about Pinterest in the comments? Anyone watching live? All 18,000 of you. It's not 18,000. But yeah, so we have a slower show today. Let's see. I tried the Eric's phone number, and it's not working for me to invite him in. But let's talk about something. Wow. I expected Dustin to be in here today, talk about the Twitter analytics. Jeff, so is there anything...
problems with Hangouts. No.
Right. How to deal when your Hangout has a few hiccups.
Well,
why don't we talk... Actually, that's
talk about Hangouts. Yeah, well, I remember our big thing when we started, we got Guy Kawasaki into one of our shows, and he had messed up the time, and he wasn't there. And I mean, it was 5 minutes after, and we had been pushing it out, and he was such a cool guy. He rushed back, jumped on the call, and when he first jumped on it, we couldn't hear him, and so I'm freaking out, because I mean, all these people came to watch him, and that's just what you just kind of have to roll with it. But that stuff happens, and it has what I think. Here's an example, and I've done Hangouts for clients, and people still don't understand this. And this isn't really a rant, but it is. I did 5 of these for this client, and it was the most viewed. We did a half-hour show, and we talked, and And one person told him, well, it didn't seem very professional because it was in his office or whatever. But I had produced videos, and then I had Hangout videos, and we had like 500 views on the. It's been up for like 3 or 4 days, and we had nothing on those, and they still are like, yeah, it's not working. I'm like, look at the stats. What are you talking about? And so, you're always going to have problems and stuff, and some people get it and some people don't, and you're just going to have to, I guess, roll the punches.
I think the problem also is that people on Hangouts, on YouTube in general, they see these videos like Gangnam Style with I don't even know how many billion, whatever, how many hits it has, but and then when they see their video have like 500 hits, they're like, oh, well, that failed. Well, no, actually, if those 500 hits were all potential customers, that's a huge success if your video was good and could convert anyone over. But that's a whole other situation. But you don't have to go viral. Viral is not, and I like that we segued back over to that. Viral's not the goal.
I have to kind of bring back a little bit of reality to that, though. And I'm going to politely disagree. And that is that if a customer is going to pay you, let's say, $1,000 to produce a Hangout, right? And their product is $50, right? And they get 500 views. And you have no annotation link in that video to actually drive somebody to their website. Or you have an event page and you don't have a link to their website where somebody can purchase their product. And they don't care about public relations or the brand name itself being out there. Now you have a problem because the customer does not have the expectations set up properly for what the return is. So the return comes down to a return on engagement versus a return on investment. Now, if you switch all of that around, and Jeff, not taking a stab at your buddy because I have no idea how it was set up on your end. So not saying that at all. Just saying that is in practice, I think that if you're going to be offering a service to somebody and that is a Hangout, the benefits totally have to be explained and they have to be aligned with the customer, and the customer needs to agree with them right from the outset. Like, look, your video might actually will actually be indexed into search for your company name. Or like in the case of our Hangout here today, social media Hangout, if you do, what was the search that you did earlier, Andrew?
I think it was just social media Hangout. Or no, Manlier tips. Or what was
Manlier tips.
The Manlier show. I did Manlier show. Yeah.
So that right there is return on investment, right? Okay, it's showing up.
Thank you, Ben. That actually reminded me of something else I wanted to talk about today. That Google is now running an experiment, basically, that all live Hangouts on air will be searchable in Google search. So from 3 hours before your event will be searchable. So I did a search for Manlier show, and there it was. First result, top of the screen. That's the video right there, and I think it's absolutely fantastic, and just reminds me to start putting topics in that title, not just Jeff's name. But hey, maybe people will be searching for Jeff C, and all of a sudden, hey, they're at your Hangout. So let's say, one of the examples Google gave was, let's say an author is doing an AMA on Hangouts. Someone Googles the author's name, they find that Hangout right there. It's just easy win. But yeah, thanks, Ben.
No problem.
Yeah, like I knew there was something else that was in there that we needed to mention. So that's good.
And I wanted to go back to Ben's topic, what he was talking about too, and I guess I wasn't clear. We weren't selling a product or anything. My point was that people want to see sometimes behind the scenes, and that was more popular because this person that they were showing on, you don't have to have a super slick produced video versus a Hangout. And I think that I'm sorry, that was my point mostly, but you are totally right that you need to tell what the customer the expectations. You needed to drive them into a sales funnel. You need to do all that and have a link on the page, which a lot of people don't do. But yeah, my point was, some people still have the perception that Google Hangouts aren't real.
Oh yeah.
I was having this debate with a client recently, like a rather larger client, that basically they are looking for using, for video chat, and they're like, oh, we've been using Skype forever, and I'm like, well, no, I mean, just try it. You'll like it. It works. The integration with everything is fantastic, and the fact that the name's searchable now with Google, it's huge. If you have a big name coming to your show, I mean, that's a very big thing. Anyone searching that name is going to get it. And
I think another thing that's really overlooked with the customers see with Hangouts is that Hangouts, the closed captions are automatically transcribed. And this helps indirectly with semantic search. So that's another thing that, at least when I'm talking about Hangouts, is I talk about how, we're always still teaching Google about your brand, whatever it might be. And when you're doing Hangout on Air, it's creating a semantic correlation. I mean, this one is creating a semantic correlation between Social Media Hangout, Ben Fisher, Jeff C., Andrew, and the different topics that we're talking about. Especially if we go back and we edit those closed captions.
Right, because they're pretty funny right now if you go read them.
Oh yeah.
That's something I haven't done yet. Well, actually, I did do it for like the first 3 videos. I think I had time to do that. But I still want to go back and make time-stamped descriptions for everything with every single topic that's talked about laid out in the video. I mean, it's search gold. And the other thing about YouTube that I know this will change, but YouTube still has some flaws, I guess, with how YouTube videos are found in Google search. YouTube is still very subject to keyword stuffing. I don't know if you've ever noticed those videos that are just horribly. You can submit those things to link submitters, and your YouTube videos will rank higher. And it's horrible that still works. Google, fix it now. But something that's interesting so something else that leads me is not that I'm telling you to go do it illegally, but do proper keyword stuffing, like actually put words in that are involved in the show, and it will help you. Don't copy paste lists.
There's actually a little pro tip, and that is put your hashtags in your title. Put 2 hashtags, or at least 1. That'll help for discoverability. But I just want to go back to what Jeff was saying real quick, because there's one other point I think that's important, and that is you're basically saying, Jeff, right, that the customer didn't see the value because they only had a couple hundred views, right?
Yeah, well, and plus it was different because the produced videos actually had less views, and I guess there's still perception that Hangouts aren't real, videos.
Right, that Hangouts aren't real videos, and I get that too, actually. So I hear that a lot as well, and I think it's because the fact that we're doing them from, say, our offices, or we're not doing it in a professional, say, studio or something like that.
We're not paying a crew of 50 guys to run our show. We don't need to do that anymore. We all have a $100 webcam. That's it. I'm $70 at this point. Buy it on Black Friday coming up.
Yeah, and I think it'll just get better with education.
Yeah, and I think, and also I think people still like it though. It's almost like it's a candid conversation. It's almost like reality TV. I mean, and that's what
it's actually reality. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. And this guy who I was doing it with he has not a national radio show, and so people liked it because they were seeing him real. It wasn't a produced radio segment. It wasn't a produced video segment where he's reading from a teleprompter. It was him and I having a conversation, and they loved it. But it was so outside of his comfort zone, and I think also showing up for a live show, that made him he didn't like the liveness of it, and so there's that perception. And I think he's starting to turn around, but it was uncomfortable for him, and so
I guess. And then the live show did better than the produced show?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, well, that should be an eye opener, right?
That's what it was driving me nuts. I'm like, he goes, it's just not working. I'm like, look, you have triple the amount of viewers in a shorter amount of time than your produced thing that we're showing on YouTube. I mean, and because people like it. They liked seeing it they liked being able to ask questions that we would answer. I mean, that whole thing is just huge, and I think when businesses and companies can really wrap their minds around it, it will really help them. And so that was the point that I was trying. Yes, I'm totally with you, Ben. Educating, but sometimes you have to educate with like a 2x4 to the head.
So I guess, and maybe some people are just afraid, when they say something, if they slip and say something incorrect, that all of a sudden it's in Google and you're done, right. Or something like that. And it's actually not like that. I mean, you can produce these. You can have ones where you have the live viewers watch it live, but then after the live show, that's it. It goes private, and you can produce however you want and re-release it. So then you not only have a reason for people to come watch you live, then people have a motivation to then schedule time in to see you, rather than watch it afterwards. They can watch the produced segments version of it, but so that's a win. I mean, right. You have the time and the resources for that.
And that brings up a really there's one little piece that I just want to bring back out, because I hear this very often too, and that is a customer will ask, well, I'm going to be live. Okay, people are going to ask me questions. What if I really don't know the answer, or I can't say what the answer is right now? They're like, that's why I don't want to do it. I'm like, well, that's not a great excuse. You're an expert at what you do. You've been doing it for over, say, 10, 20 years. You know what you're doing, right? Answer, of course, usually comes back, well, yes. Okay, so if somebody asks you a question that you might not know the answer to right now today, can you just simply say, I'm not really sure about that, but I can get back to you in the comments? And usually the answer to that is yes. Okay, so next excuse.
Right.
And any makeup.
Yeah. And I think it adds a level of and everybody's batting that word around, authenticity, but it does. It really does. I mean, that's one thing. When you come to Google+, you are not the smartest person in the room anymore. You're not. I mean, there are so many people here that I get on and I'm like, you're not the smart. You may have been in your local hometown. You may have been the best SEO guy in your little town. But when you get on Google+, you got experts. But the cool thing is I can ask these experts, and most of the time they will help. And that's how our show got started. I've never met any of those guys on the Manly Show in real life, ever. But we got on, we built a relationship totally online, and we're able to produce something together. And I think that's just amazing to me.
Right. I started doing this 2 years ago. I started Googling how to market. That's really how I started. I obviously got to more advanced sources after that one, but it's really, the information is out there, and it's almost mind-boggling how much information and how much how-to is out there at this point. There's no excuse to be doing it wrong, and yeah, we could get into an hour-long discussion, what's right or wrong. I just mean, don't focus time and effort on things that do not work for you. That's, I guess, the easiest way of putting all of my knowledge of social media in one sentence.
Well, and if you don't know it, go learn it. If you want to become a master at Hangouts, you go to somebody authentic like Ronnie Bincer, and you go join his mastery course. Yep. You don't buy into those other kinds of video training series, whatever, but seek advice from other people. Don't take my word for it. Ask other people too.
Right. I used to say learn to Google. Now I say learn to Google+, because the people that create the best content that's in the Google search engine, they're here. They're at least on the themes that we talk about, at least. There's still some industries that are underrepresented and all that, but we're getting to them. Google+ is growing, and it's not going anywhere.
Ben, that brought up an interesting question, and I've really started to, I guess, realize that lately. That was one of the things when I first started, and I thought, oh, maybe I'll do these Hangout things. I went and paid money to Ronnie Bincer. That was before the Hangout Mastery even was around. I said, I bought time from him because he was an expert. And I think when people realize that they need to invest in themselves, that's a turning point, because I talked about the podcast. I dropped some serious money on producing these intros and outros, because if I'm going to fail, I'm going to fail spectacularly. I mean, but, you know, because what got me thinking is like I would spend this much money on a client, I wouldn't even think about it. You know, if they were having me do this and produce it, I would write this into the cost and all that stuff. And I'm like, well, I've got to, why wouldn't I do that for myself? And I think when people start thinking as themselves in a professional way, and that I'm going to invest this time that I'm spending on Google Plus or using steady demand or whatever, it makes a difference, and you'll see that turn in your business. You'll see that switch. That, hey, okay, I'm really going to go for this thing. So, sorry, I always like soapbox.
No, that's a good soapbox actually to be on, because that's called the I am my client mentality, and I think a lot of people struggle with that. It's usually solopreneurs who are very good at something. They've got a couple clients. They get so busy that they start to not be able to service themselves, and therefore the proof of their pudding sucks. And but it's the cobbler's shoes effect. You know, he makes these great shoes, but he can't make his own shoes. Right. And so what you're saying there, Jeff, is a fantastic point, and that is treat yourself like a client. Do what you would do for a client for yourself.
I can't agree with that enough, and I just get so upset when I see people like in strategy community, you know, and when an agency comes in and they just spam link litter with a bit.ly link to their post, and just, you know, as a reference, if anyone's watching that isn't in the communities, we don't allow bit.ly links, for example. We want to see directly where we're going, just a modicum of safety for our moderators, so we don't have to all click on random links. But and plus, it also shows us that you took the time to actually read the community description and the guidelines. But so when I see an agency doing that, I go, well, so are you doing that for your clients? Is that when you're running their pages, are you just jumping into random communities and spamming links to their websites? That's very, very bad. If you can't do it yourself, you can't do it for them. And you're flat out lying on your profile when you say, we'll run your site, get you the engagement you need. Because how? What are you doing? Sorry, rant/end rant.
And I think you also get what you pay for. And the other point I was thinking about the other day was that it's okay to modify your stuff. Like we did the Manly Pinterest Tip Show. We decided, hey, we want to talk about other things, and we kind of rebranded. And I don't think everybody needs to do a hangout show, but I think everyone needs to try. Does that make sense?
It's the same way I look at blogs. You try one. If it works for you, keep doing it. If it doesn't work, don't churn it out, but try it. Right. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I think that makes total sense, Jeff, and I can I can relate to it on a personal level. You know, when I first started getting really back into Plus, that's, you know, when I did the whole Hulk Hogan show and all that.
Right.
And that was a big production. I mean, and when I mean big production, it was a long production. It took 3 weeks, end to end, to coordinate the whole thing, put it together, notes on my walls, notes on my desks, organizing everything. Like, okay, I've got a celebrity and I don't want to mess up. And the amount of stress and time that it took away from my business was amazing. And I stepped back from it afterwards and I said, okay, the show was a success, yes, but look what it did to my business and my time. So at that point, I made a decision. I'm not going to host a show. I'm not going to produce any more shows. If I do, I'll do them once in a while. I will be a guest on anybody's show. But I made that decision. But that was a decision totally for me. It was a selfish decision, you know, totally. But selfish for my clients more than anything else.
That's what actually happened to Google themselves. They tried launching the Google Plus Conversations. It's basically conversations with leaders in different industries, and they wanted to approach communities, and each community was going to get appropriate leaders. The wisdom would have talking to Oprah, and science talking to Al Gore, which we actually did. And I can't even imagine the logistics that went into it, because there were back and forth emails with us for weeks as moderators and owners of the community, and we weren't even making any real decisions. I mean, they were doing this for a while, but and it went through, and what ended up happening was people they just got upset. You know, the community got a lot of trolls, got a lot of people that weren't normally interacting in the community, and they just wanted to come and yell at Al Gore. So, you know, it was a great idea that just massively failed upon actual launch. You know, and since it's been I think it's been scrapped completely at this point. We're just kind of left to do our own thing as far as the hangouts and conversations. But it was interesting to watch that on the inside.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, but I mean, Jeff brought up a great point, and the point, I think the core point is don't be afraid of it. Try it.
Right.
What's the worst thing that you can do? You know, the worst thing is you fail miserably. Okay, so you learned. Woohoo!
Yep.
Exactly.
And so I guess we tried getting Eric back in here to talk to us about last time. I guess we'll talk to Eric and Mark next week. That'll be all right. Let's see. We grew our comments. Just want to say hello, Lee Rickler, Roxanne Davenport, Gary. Thank you, Gary Emmett Chandler. Thank you all for watching, being in there, commenting. Not too many comments, but so let's. I mean, I want to jump back to Pinterest. So, as far as Pinterest, would you recommend, like, say for me, to jump in with a business account or a personal account? I have no idea. I mean, what's the difference between the two at this point?
If you're just using it for fun, then stay with a business account. I mean, stay with a personal account. But if you go into you're wanting to grow your business, there's some things that you really need from a business account. You can get rich pins and all this other stuff. One of the biggest things, and they've really opened up now, I think you have unlimited or some ungodly amount of secret boards. And what I tell people is, because when you first start, you don't want to just spam people showing up in their streams. And so, like, whenever I create a new board on Pinterest, is I make it secret first, and I'll pin it. Like I did a manly food board where it was like barbecue. It was around the Super Bowl, and I didn't want to have everybody seeing all these recipes come in their stream who follow me anyway. And so I pin everything to a secret board, and then make that secret board live, and it doesn't dump it in the stream. It just is there, and then I can pin to it live when I see it. And so that way it just kind of helps you don't spam people so much. You usually want to fill out your boards, at least have 5 pins in there before people don't want to come to your profile and see you have a social media board and only have 2 pins in it. They'll go,
it's like a community, someone who comes into a community, you don't want it blank. No.
So you want to have it kind of fleshed out, and you can rotate them different ways, but make sure you use, just like any other place, descriptions, good descriptions, and hashtags and stuff like that. So
that's nice.
That's a great tip.
Yeah, I was reading up about there's product pins, rich pins, map pins. There's a lot I need to learn.
If you're a real estate agent, man, I would jump on that on Pinterest so fast, because the ones who are doing it good, I follow him. I can't remember his name all of a sudden, but anyway, he has them broken down into his community. Different neighborhoods, and it's just genius. And so he's getting a lot of people sharing that, and it's pretty impressive.
I know. I just brain farted on his name as well, and I know.
Yeah, he's in Google Plus all the time. I mean, gosh,
he's one of our moderators. Derek, I just brain farted.
Yeah.
But no, it's
Bill Gassett. It's Bill Gassett.
Thank you,
yeah.
Bill. Okay. We love you, Bill. Sorry.
I was thinking that's who it was, but I was like,
No, he is the. I mean, whenever I meet anyone that's like, I'm going into real estate, I go follow him. Now, if you want to ever succeed online, go follow Bill Gassett on real estate. And even if in other industries, you can watch him and learn from it. On how to sell your products online. I mean, it's just. He also teaches people how to do so. He does delve into the marketing aspects of it. So, which is why he's one of our moderators. He's great, and it's nice to see that in practice in an industry which is frequently kind of looked down upon as far as its marketing as being, bland, dissimilar. It's always just a flyer with a picture of someone smiling in front of a cloudy, like a shining sky. Like that, but he's kind of injecting new life into real estate, which is nice. But Google also has some cool features. I have my new Samsung Galaxy 5, and I love doing like little video walkthroughs. You can do walkthroughs of properties and cut those down into a little GIF, post it on Pinterest, post it on Google Plus. Someone looks at a walkthrough of how something opens up into the main room of your home you're listing. It's neat. Good idea. But let's see. It's about 3:50. We don't have any real questions to answer. Ben, anything going on in the Ben world this week?
Nothing too exciting. I mean, of course, the only exciting thing that we always have is the G Plus Spotlight, of course, every single Wednesday, which we're going to be going to actually bi-weekly. But yeah, nothing really too neat going on. So.
I'm responding to Eric. Sorry, we've been a little like disconnected today. Sorry about that, guys. I will have to edit it all together into a 3-minute video of what we actually talked about, without all of the blank spaces and me just staring into the camera. I think it would be a good point. We can have a shorter show today. We're slowing down a bit, so I don't want to drag it out. But I do want to say thank you to Jeff for coming today. You have renewed a fire in me for getting on Pinterest. I do need to do that now, so I'll go follow you and your boards to at least get me started and see what you're doing. And yeah, thank you to Ben as always for being here and making sure I'm not just sitting here alone crying that no one's watching.
We can see now Andrew in the corner.
That's right.
It's watching me.
Hey, and I was to do a shout out real quick. Dustin, one of your cohorts, he's going to be on the Manly show this Thursday, talking about branding. So we're excited to have him on there. So
awesome. All right, you guys have a wonderful week, and bye everyone.